everyone, it's Diane. Welcome back. I know I've been absent for a little while. Well, really only a week, so I apologize. You know, life happens, things come up, and it was a busy week. And one thing I try to never do is to pass up an invitation to do something with my kids. So last week when I was going to come up and do my video, my daughter-in-law invited me to go to a show with her, and you know, besides the fact that I try to spend as much time with them as I can, the show was wonderful. So yeah, I had a great time with her, but I also kind of blew my opportunity to make a video. My all my kids were traveling this week for work. My husband went in one direction, my oldest son went east, and my youngest son had to go south, all for work. And so I had my oldest son's dogs here all week, and they took up a lot of my time. So if you remember when we left off last time, and I'm going to try to holler because I guess somebody saw a video of mine from a year ago and commented that they couldn't hear me. Sorry, I'm hoping that over a year I've improved somewhat. When we left off last time, we were at Beautiful You in our Stamping A to Z project, trying to use all the stamp sets that I have acquired. And this is one of those sets that wasn't sticky. And so the stamps that I used today, I did already go ahead and prep them a little bit. I used, just in case you're not aware of how you can fix this problem, put your label on your stamp as you always do. But then the problem that Stampin' Up! Had back then was they didn't stick to the acrylic block. And I will show you. This was one, and they just don't stick. So if you, and I don't want to do it because I'll get my finger all gooey again, if you use some Tombow Mono Liquid Glue, Mono Multi Liquid Glue, I don't know. Anyways, use the Tombow, and when you let Tombow dry, if you've not adhered it to something, it stays sticky. That's why I'm a little cautious when I use this on my cards. If it squeezes outside of a die onto the front of your card, it stays sticky. But for this, it's perfect because I just put a little bit on my stamps, I smear it around, I set them aside to dry, and they stick. So if you have some of these older sets and they're not sticking to your acrylic blocks, you can give that a try. They also make adhesive sheets now that you can get, but if you have the glue, it works perfect. This one actually, we're not going to use that one. I was going to say I forgot to put glue on it, but I'm not using that one. And this one that I am using, somewhere along the lines I lost the sticker off of it. And that must be why. It probably was on a block and came off, and I have not found it. So Beautiful You has 3 images. This is a kind of an artsy set. Has 3 beautiful designed women, and then just some squiggle lines that you can use to add color to. Well, I used this one. I wonder if I should have used that one. No, I like what I did. That you can add color to their dress if you want to do kind of an artsy look. You can also use your Stampin' Blends or your markers. You can use the blender pen and ink and color them in as if you're painting, and it'll come up really gorgeous. I just used the one stamp that has the abstract design on it, and I'll show you how to line that up a little bit so you can get that right into her dress. And the reason I wanted to use the little abstract stamps was because I pulled out the paper. What was this? This was Dainty Flowers. Do you remember when we were using, oh, sorry, need a tissue? Allergy season. Yep. We're back up in the 70s today, so I do apologize for everybody in the neighborhood mowing their lawn, but I think it's going to happen today because tomorrow we're supposed to get some rain again. Anyways, I think this was Celebration. You got this for free during Celebration. And I've used a lot of the watercolor paper out of it, but on the other side of it were wreaths. And I always felt kind of bad because I was cutting the wreaths up and using the watercolor stuff, but I like watercolor, so oh, what can I say? So today I decided to use the wreath design that's in there. So even though it looks like I've stamped all that, we're letting the paper do the work for us. This one I did in Starry Sky. I used Starry Sky cardstock for my base and my matte layer. I've used the Dainty Flowers paper to stamp on and then made another mat behind it with the watercolor paper showing, or watercolor design, and then just stamped my greeting. And I had some Starry Sky excuse me, metallic woven ribbon, which is really pretty. Has a little bit of a metallic sheen to it. Not a lot though. It's very pretty, very subtle. Excuse me again. I'm sorry. Sorry. I was doing okay, but then I started talking to you, and that always ruins it. Now, I cut out another one of those wreaths. I trimmed it as close as I could, making a 3.5 by a 4 3/4 inch rectangle. Excuse me. See if a sip will help. I did try layering rectangles, or layering ovals, I'm sorry, and could not get anything big enough to cut those wreaths out. I also used, I have a die from Woven Heirlooms, and I had cut one of those out, and I don't know where it's at right now, which would be a wonderful size, but it also cuts out the center. Oh, right here. See, I thought that would be great, but it cuts the center out, and I don't want to cut the flowers out. I tried fussy cutting one and didn't like it. So anyways, I went with the rectangle. Now my only thing for this card, I'm using fresh Freesia. So we have our 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch wreath, and it's layered up on 3 3/4 inches by 5 inch mat on the background. And then I cut another piece of that watercolor design at 4 by 5 1/4. But this has a lot of green showing. I might cut a different one. And yep, hubby's weed whacking right outside my craft window. Oh, well, what can you say? It's gonna be like that. So let me see if I can find another piece of watercolor. Oh, that piece right there might look a little nicer, huh? Might show a little more pinky, purpley color behind it. Yeah, let's do that. And then the fresh Freesia card base. So I need a 4. How do I want to do this? I want to get as much of the pink and purple as I can. 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, good, he's moved along. This Dainty Flowers paper, I think I'm very happy that I was able to get a couple of packs of it, because I have a feeling I'm going to use it a lot. Yeah, that looks better. That's not quite as green behind there. Okay, so let's stamp our lady. Get these papers all out of the way. That's my inside. So we just need our wreath. I'm using the lady in the, what is that, kind of like an A-line dress? Not quite. More of a silhouette. So I don't know what, boy, can you tell that I'm not fashion sense here? My daughter, my same daughter-in-law that invited me last week to a show, also invited me to a tea this afternoon. So I'm trying not to get my hands too inky. And You know, it's been a while since I wore a skirt or a dress or anything, so I was trying to make sure I had something that still fit. Is there anything on this that I don't know? Okay. Some scrap paper. Okay. Because when we go to add our color, I'm going to stamp off one time. So I'm going to stamp my beautiful lady in the center. I wonder if I am going to stamp off one time. This is a very light purple, fresh freesia. Rich Razzleberry's the other color that's in this floral design, but I didn't know if I wanted to go that dark. So let me get my scrap paper again here. Well, if I do that, if I stamp that off, that's going to be super light. But I do want my outside to be a little bit darker. So in this abstract design, there's a little V at the top of the squiggle marks. See the V? I try to line that up with the V in her neckline of her dress, and that seemed to work really well. Followed her body shape a little bit. Okay, let's do one more and stamp it off. See which one I like better. I guess I could have stamped it over that one, but oh, I think stamping it off is much nicer. It just gives that a little bit of hint of color. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, I just put my scrap paper away after I said I needed to stamp off. I'm going to pull this towards me a little bit. I apologize. I need to see that V in her neck, and the light is just shining. So there we go. Wipe her little dress color off. This is, I'm telling you, this is a super simple, quick card. Then I just have a scrap piece of white. Well, that's actually watercolor. That would be nice, but this is more of a gray watercolor. My watercolor paper is a little bit whiter. Oh, that's watercolor too. Go to the other end of your scraps. There we go. And I want Happy Birthday Gorgeous. I'm stamping this also in fresh freesia. And I'm going to try to keep this towards the bottom of a straight edge of white paper so that I can just trim out a rectangle. And I'll do my inside while I have my ink here. And my inside says, "Life looks beautiful on you." So if you have like a diva friend or something, this would be a perfect card to ship off to them for their birthday. I guess even if they're not a diva, I just sent we had our stamp group here last week, our workshop. And I actually used one of the cards that we had made to send to a very good friend of mine. And but I think she would have appreciated this too. She would have enjoyed that. She is gorgeous. A little scrap of freesia. And we're going to trim our Happy Birthday pretty close to the font. And I ended up fitting this onto a background mat that is about 2 1/8 by 1 1/8 inches wide. Is all the more paper it took. 2 1/8 by 1 1/8. Great way to use up some of these little scraps. Yeah, so it's nice to see my lady friends here this week. One of them just came back from Italy and got to hear some stories about how gorgeous it is over there. Oh, I also had a little stack of cards here. I got Happy Mail again. Hi, how about that? So this is one from my upline. When I ordered, she always sends out a nice little thank you card that I can keep or reuse. But this is a die set that I never got, but then you get a card with it in there, and you're like, oh, why didn't I get that set, right? Yeah, pretty, right? This is a Happy Mail card from Beth, one of the ladies who had won the prize from me. She sent me a nice little thank you card and was excited to get that. And then this little card with the little meerkat on here is from Sonia. Sonia also won some prize with stamping supplies from me and sent a nice thank you card. I was happy to see that she was able to use some of the paper and the little meerkat. They're so sweet. So, happy mail galore. It does make me happy, you know. So when you send a card to somebody, you're gonna make them happy. So let's put our happy birthday, gorgeous, happy birthday, gorgeous, onto our mat. We're gonna just layer our beautiful lady right onto the fresh Freesia mat. Center that onto our layer. When you have beautiful paper like this, it really just makes it so easy to do a quick card. Then I'll take my watercolor design. See, look at what I'm using on the back. It's hard to use. Hard to hide, I should say. This piece is going to be hidden. Center that on our card base. Oop, come on, get down there. Now I can add my stamped panel. You can layer this up with some dimensionals if you like. I chose to leave mine flat. I was thinking I could show you the other couple cards that the ladies did this week, if I can remember where I set them. They might be right behind me. I did use some dimensionals to layer up my greeting. And these cards will come in perfect. You know, my ladies group, the friends that I went to school with, we're all getting to that one certain age. So making sure that everyone realizes how beautiful they still are is important. Put my inside and we'll add a little bow. I had some fresh Freesia ribbon. I made a little bow out of one of them. You can always tell after we've had a workshop and I'm using up the leftover tape runner. I run out quickly. But I'm not going to throw it away until it's all gone. So, life looks beautiful on you. Ooh, I got that a little crooked. Come on, just twist a little bit. That'll work. And here's my little, and you know what else? When my upline Anne sent me my thank you, she put in there some, what were these? Pastel gems. I'm not sure what the colors are. That might be kind of pretty on there. Let me put my little bow on first. Oh, I forgot I'm not hollering. I'm sorry. Oh, a little glue dot here. Add that to my front greeting. You know what? I don't know if I want to put gems on there. I like the flowers. I mean, how much simpler can you get for a pretty card? Oh, I do have the other two. So here's one that the ladies did at our workshop with, we were using colored pencils and craft paper. And then we used some, what was the golf outing one? Used some paper from that and made a little bit more masculine one, just in case. Well, doesn't necessarily have to be masculine, but not flowery. We do a lot of flowers, so. And the other one, like I said, I used it as male. So here's today's cards. Beautiful you. If you've got that stamp set or you have the Dainty flowers, give it a try. And next, oh, watercolor words. Oh, watercolor. This is what's up next. Well, let's watercolor on that one. So that'll be our next video. I think I'll get some watercolor paper and we'll play with that a little bit. Until the next time, everyone have a lovely week. Thanks for being with me, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye.